Did you know the CIA once turned mental hospitals into torture chambers? In the 1950s, Project MKUltra began the most disturbing mind control experiments in American history. Patients entered hospitals seeking help. Instead, they became unwitting test subjects. Doctors dosed them with massive amounts of LSD, put them in comas for months, played recordings on repeat to erase their memories and reprogram their minds. But it didn't stop there. The CIA drugged entire communities. They poisoned water supplies, contaminated food. No one knew they were being experimented on. Children, prisoners, hospital patients, all became lab rats in over 150 secret projects. Many suffered permanent brain damage. Others died. When investigators got too close in the 70s, the CIA destroyed almost all the evidence. Thousands of victims were left without answers, without knowing what had been done to them. The few documents that survived reveal the horrifying truth. For decades, the American government had been conducting psychological torture on its own people, all in the name of winning the Cold War. In the 1920s, young women thought they had the perfect job. They painted watch dials with a special glowing paint called radium. Their bosses told them it was completely safe. So safe they could lick their brushes to make fine points for detailed work. The girls did this hundreds of times a day, every day. What they didn't know was that radium was slowly killing them. Within months, their bodies began to betray them. Their teeth fell out, their jaws crumbled, their bones became so brittle they shattered from simple movements. The most horrifying part? Their bones literally glowed in the dark. These women, known as the radium girls, were dying from the inside out. Their own skeletons were radioactive. But here's the truly evil part. The company knew radium was deadly. They had known for years. While telling workers it was safe enough to lick, company executives used lead shields to protect themselves from the same substance. The Radium Girls fought back with one of the first major industrial health lawsuits in history. Their glowing bones became evidence of corporate murder. In 1987, two scavengers broke into an abandoned medical clinic in Brazil. They found something that would kill them both. Deep inside the building, they discovered a metal capsule containing a mysterious blue powder that glowed in the dark. They thought they had found something magical. The men took it home and shared their discovery with everyone they knew. Families rubbed the glowing substance on their skin like face paint. Parents gave it to their children to play with. One man's wife was so fascinated by the beautiful blue glow, she ate it. What they didn't know was that they were handling cesium-137, one of the most radioactive materials on Earth. Within days, people started getting sick. Their skin began falling off. Their hair came out in clumps. Children died in agony. By the time authorities realized what was happening, the contamination there had spread across the entire city. 4 people died horrible deaths from radiation poisoning. Over 200 were contaminated. The Goiânia accident remains one of the worst radiological disasters in history. In 1970, a group of college radicals did something unthinkable. They declared war on America itself. The Weather Underground became the most wanted domestic terrorists in U.S. history. They bombed the Pentagon, the Capitol building, dozens of government targets. But here's what made them truly terrifying. They vanished completely. These weren't hardened criminals. They were university students who learned to live like ghosts. Fake names, plastic surgery, new identities. They robbed banks to survive, changed apartments every few weeks, never stayed in one place too long. The FBI launched the largest manhunt in American history. They found nothing. For over a decade, these fugitives lived among us. Your neighbor could have been a wanted bomber. Your coworker might have blown up federal buildings. The paranoia consumed them. They couldn't trust anyone, not even each other. When their own bomb factory exploded, killing 3 members, the survivors kept running. Some stayed hidden for 30 years, living double lives, always looking over their shoulders. The most chilling part? Most of them were never caught. Did you know a preacher convinced 900 people to kill their own children? Jim Jones started as a charismatic leader, but behind closed doors, he was building something much darker. At People's Temple, Jones ran twisted loyalty tests. He made followers drink what they thought was poison just to prove their faith. He worked them 20 hours a day, made them confess their sins in front of everyone, slowly cut them off from family and friends. Then he moved 900 people to a remote jungle in Guyana. No phones, no way out. Armed guards watched every move. Jones controlled when they slept, what they ate, even what they thought. Anyone who questioned him disappeared. On November 18, 1978, Jones called his final test. He mixed cyanide into Flavor Aid and called it revolutionary suicide. The children drank first, over 300 of them. Parents watched their kids convulse and die, then guards forced them to drink too. In less than an hour, 900 people were dead, all because they trusted the wrong person. Did you know that during World War II, Japanese doctors performed surgery on living people without any pain medication? Unit 7. 3-1 was Japan's most horrifying secret. Hidden in occupied China, military doctors turned human beings into test subjects for biological weapons. They injected prisoners with deadly diseases just to watch them die. They froze people's limbs until the flesh turned black, then thawed them to study frostbite damage. They cut open living victims to see how organs functioned during torture. Children weren't spared. Pregnant women became experiments. Thousands died in agony, all in the name of creating better weapons. But here's the most disturbing part. When the war ended, America knew everything. They had detailed reports of every twisted experiment. Instead of prosecuting these war criminals, the US government made a deal. Complete immunity in exchange for all their research data. The doctors who tortured thousands of innocent people never faced justice. They walked free, protected by the very nation that defeated Japan. Some even became respected professors and founded medical companies. Evil doesn't always get punished. In July 1945, the USS Indianapolis completed a top-secret mission. They had just delivered parts for the atomic bomb that would end World War II. But on their way back, a Japanese submarine was waiting. 2 torpedoes ripped through the ship. It sank in 12 minutes. Of the 1,200 men aboard, 900 made it into the water alive. But there were almost no life rafts, and no distress signal was sent. For 4 days, they floated in shark-infested waters. Oceanic white-tip sharks began picking them off one by one. Men screamed as they were dragged underwater in feeding frenzies. Others went insane from thirst. They drank salt water and hallucinated. Some killed their own shipmates in psychotic episodes. The Navy knew they were missing, but did nothing. When a patrol plane accidentally spotted survivors on day 4, only 316 men were still alive. Instead of taking responsibility, the Navy court-martialed the captain for the disaster. The USS Indianapolis remains the worst shark attack in human history. Did you know that passengers were taking photos and laughing just seconds before they died? November 28, 1979. Air New Zealand flight. 901 was supposed to be a dream trip, a sightseeing flight over Antarctica. 257 people boarded that morning, excited to see the frozen continent from above, but they had no idea someone had changed their flight path overnight. The pilots didn't know either. Their navigation system was guiding them straight toward Mount Erebus. As they descended through the white clouds for a scenic flyover, passengers pressed against windows, cameras clicking. Then the ground proximity alarm started screaming. The pilots had seconds to realize they were flying directly into a mountain at 500 miles per hour. The impact was instant. Everyone died. But the real horror began after the crash. Air New Zealand and the government launched a massive cover-up. They blamed the pilots while destroying evidence. Investigators who challenged their lies had their careers destroyed. It took decades to expose the truth behind New Zealand's deadliest aviation disaster. Did you know a Soviet cosmonaut was sent to die in space to save face for the Communist Party? April 24, 1967. Vladimir Komarov climbed into Soyuz 1 knowing he would never come home. The spacecraft had over 200 critical design flaws. Engineers begged officials to delay the mission. They were ignored. The launch was timed for Lenin's birthday. Canceling would embarrass the Soviet Union on the world stage, so they sent Komarov anyway. From the moment Soyuz 1 reached orbit, everything went wrong. Solar panels failed to deploy. Navigation systems malfunctioned. The spacecraft tumbled out of control. Ground control ordered an emergency return, but the main parachute tangled on re-entry. As Komarov plummeted toward Earth at 400 miles per hour, his final radio transmissions were recorded. He wasn't praying. He wasn't saying goodbye to his family. He was screaming curses at the party officials who condemned him to death for a photo opportunity. Soyuz 1 hit the ground like a meteor. Komarov became the first human to die during spaceflight, a hero sacrificed on the altar of Soviet pride. In 1961, Dr. Leonid Rogozov was trapped at the bottom of the world, the only doctor at an isolated Antarctic research station. No rescue possible for months. Then his appendix began to rupture. Without surgery, he would die within hours. So Rogozov did the unthinkable. He operated on himself, conscious, using only mirrors and local anesthesia. For 2 agonizing hours, he cut into his own abdomen, his hands shaking from pain and exhaustion. One wrong move meant death, but somehow he saved his own life, in one of the most extreme acts of survival ever documented.